Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaber.io, and I'm here today with Don Bahlman, the CEO and co-founder of iOpen Innovations. Good afternoon, Don. How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you doing?
That's good. I'm doing well. Yeah, it's a pretty nice day here today in the Bay Area. And where are you located? What part of the world?
We're in Texas, just north of Dallas, in a city called Allen.
Ah, very nice. Close to my heart. Yes.
There you go.
Actually, they have a hockey team there, don't they?
They do. They do. Plenty of action, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yes. It's my favorite sport, so that's how I know about them.
yeah, yeah.
So, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Sure. So my work experience is about 34 years in technology and digital, working on a lot of high-profile projects. I've had my work on CNN, on the Discovery Channel, on MTV, uh, in Europe. So a lot of high-profile projects. Worked with Mayo Clinic, did project for NASA. Worked with IBM and AT&T. So a real mixed bag of great experiences and focused primarily on product development and user experience.
Oh, wow, that's pretty interesting. And any products we might know about?
Well, I in a previous life, I spent quite a number of years in video games. So I've got a few titles there. Worked on the original N64, Pilot Wings. I don't know if you remember that one. That's back when I was young.
I remember the
But
N64, but not Pilot Wings.
there you go.
Very cool. So, what has been your experience with remote employment, both as an employer and an employee?
Well, so that's interesting. We really haven't had much of an impact because a lot of stuff that we do already is remote. And
Mhm.
so our teams are locally here in Dallas, but we have, we communicate with teams in the Ukraine and India and pretty routinely. So really hasn't been that much of a difference for us.
So you have development staff in those countries?
Yeah, we have connections. In time to time, if we need something developed, we'll reach out to them. Just depends on what that is. But and really in technology and mostly software, you see a lot of trend to where you have teams. Could be in Argentina, could be in Portugal. Really, it's
Mhm.
just a matter of laying out the project and getting those teams on the same page.
Yeah, no, I've actually had teams reporting to me from 3 different continents at times. So I know you and when I blah, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, what's been your takeaway from that experience?
Just recently,
In general.
I think I think that this whole COVID-19 has really made us value our time more because having a choice to be remote and then having a situation where we have no choice but to be remote. Those are two totally different things. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I know it's been interesting. So what do you think is the future of remote employment, and what do you think can be done differently to make it more efficient?
I think the technology is really going to take the next level, next step with this recent, uh, challenge that we've had. I think that you just like this, we're using Zoom to talk, and there's a lot of pieces I think that are going to come about by the separation to try and overcome that separation barrier.
Mhm.
Nothing I think is going to ultimately replace that face to face when you have to sit down and really be in the same room with people. But there are a lot more tools that
Mhm.
can be, for online use. So whiteboarding, I think, is you're going to see a lot of more whiteboarding. You're going to see a lot more interactive interaction between like a common tool. I think Google's already taken a step towards that. So I think
Mhm.
we'll see a lot more of that.
Yeah, and I've already actually seen a couple whiteboarding type tools and collaborative tools. I'm not quite ready to recommend any yet, but
Right.
it's getting there. Like one of them showed so much promise, and then my partner's laptop just rebooted, and we don't know if it was the what we were using or something else. So it's one of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the story behind iOpen Innovations? What's the product you offer? Who do you serve?
Yeah, so we started in 2016 with the idea we wanted to build smart rooms for hotels and automation, tap something or use a voice command to open, close blinds and curtains. And along the way, late 2018, we literally had our Y walk into our office, and the, she was at the time our neighbor, and she's a ER surgeon. And she's like, well, when I stay in hotels and I'm subbing for different hospitals around the country, I just want to know when I open the door to my hotel that I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of hit us, that kind of T-boned us. And we started to take a step back and look at that. And we explored it and found that this is a real huge need that goes mostly unexplored. Women in general, business travelers, they're in an unfamiliar place. Hotel is safe, but if you've never been there, if you don't own it, if it's not your condo or your
Mm-hmm.
home, you really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started exploring this. And so what we pivoted in 2019, and we started to create a product called Safe State 365. And what that product does essentially is it lets you know as a guest and also as the hotelier, it lets you know if someone is in the room. Simple as that. But that goes a long way. It has implications to housekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
So when housekeeping comes for their rounds and they knock on the door, they know, is someone inside, so they can wait. They don't do what always happens to me, which is knock and then open the door. And most times in an inconvenient place. And, it's just like, give me 2 minutes. But it helps with that. It helps with sustainability. If you know that no one is in their hotel room, yet they have their AC cranked up all the way,
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust for that, and the hotel can save a lot of their operating costs.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, that goes back into the energy grid and helps us all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the most exciting thing that we found is the first responder aspect to this. We found that, in a situation, I was actually in the situation last year in another country. First responders came to the hotel. They needed everybody to come down to the lobby. I can tell you for a fact, not everyone got out of the room. A lot of people stayed there. And from that experience, we found that's a common issue. So we've showing the ability to show first responders the rooms that still have people inside. They can act quickly, and they can act with assurance to get those people out. This is an emergency. Maybe there's a gas leak or something like that. Could be anything. So that's a pretty powerful application that we're working with. It's based on IoT, and we'll do some first launch this summer.
Wow, very cool. And I certainly can see other applications of your technology. I mean, the most obvious place for this belongs is in the Las Vegas hotels, where people have all kinds of weird hours for housekeeping to know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, because you do lose track of time in Vegas.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you want to lose time in Vegas, right? You want to kind of have your vacation on cruise control and not worry about the little details. So this is meant to really just follow the path of you letting you enjoy your time, have some leisure, not worry about the little things, and make sure everything is okay. Very
cool. So how did you incorporate the idea of remote at your company? It sounds like you started that way.
Yes and no. I mean, my personal experience and in my career, I've worked with remote teams since probably 2001, around 2001. And so, I've always been an early adapter. First got to go with a cell phone and drop my landline. That was pretty weird, but but hey, it's scary, so we're going to try it. And sure enough, I still got phone calls and everything works. So, but yeah, so just the nature of my career, my business, when I started this, it was pretty normal, felt pretty normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when people now, when they say they have a landline, you're kind of like, why?
Right.
10 years ago, that wasn't true.
I know. It changed quickly.
Yeah. So we've talked about the ongoing pandemic, and that forced a lot of companies to go remote, like on that Monday, right? That's the way it was here in the Bay Area, I know.
Yeah.
Did that cause any major roadblocks or challenges for iOpen innovations?
Um, I think there's certainly some challenges because we are working with sensors, with IoT sensors. So there's
Mhm.
certainly some challenges there. I sent some sensors recently to one of my guys, and they're like, "Okay, I got my mask and my gloves, so I'm ready to,
Mhm.
get the FedEx when it comes." But minor hiccups like that,
Mhm.
I think again, we routinely meet. I mean, it's a startup, so
Yeah.
we're pretty flexible anyway. So it really didn't affect us that much.
Interesting. That's cool. So, and that's good. It's good to hear that, I've talked to a lot of people, and it seems like about 50-50 that were really affected by it. Everyone a little bit, like a minor, which it
Yeah.
sounds like you are, you know, because you can't think of everything,
Oh,
but
true.
yeah, and
True. And it's not like you can run down to the office and just, oh, hey, let's meet over here. Because and my wife is like, hey, let's get everybody in the conference room. I'm like, we can't do that.
yeah,
So, oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
So
And actually, most of the C levels I talked to, it's more the personal things that they weren't quite ready for. It wasn't the technology.
yeah, that's yeah, I'd say that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's companies like Gaper that help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups. How important do you think this will be going forward, for startups that need to hire quality people and in a hurry?
Yeah, I think our new world coming out
Mhm.
of this is going to be much more remote and much more flexible. We're going to have
Mhm.
to be flexible. I was talking to one of our advisor. He's rather an icon in hotels,
Mhm.
and so he says his former company, um, they had to lay off 90% of their staff.
Wow.
And that's devastating. I mean, how do you recover from that? And this
Yeah.
is a big question right now in our market, our customers and our potential customers in hotels. How do you recover from something like this if your whole business model is based on people interacting and coming together? How do you
Mhm.
recover? And there's certain steps uh, being looked at right now. But I think as a result, we're going to have to be much more flexible, much more, larger companies I see are going to have to be much more open to remote working, working from home, and really that filling those positions, they're just going to have to move much faster
Yeah.
and be more flexible. So I
No,
think it's going to be a good thing ultimately.
I think in the long run, I think there's going to be, usually things like this take a couple years to really work through the kinks, but
Mm,
eventually, what was it? 14 years ago, we didn't have iPhones,
right,
and
right.
now I I literally don't know anybody that doesn't have one.
And once upon a time, I could remember telephone numbers. Now I can't remember.
I
I remember
know.
my wife's and mine, and that's about it.
Yeah,
But
I know. And
I've got
then
hundreds of them on my phone.
yeah, and I used to remember directions, and now I just don't even think about it anymore. I just wherever
Yeah.
Siri tells me to go, that's where I go.
Well, and see, this is a good point that you bring up because it's not just directions, but you want to know traffic.
Mhm.
Is there a wreck ahead, and it's going to reroute you so you can get there a little faster.
Right?
So it's there's some alternate benefits coming into this as well. So
Yes, certainly. Well, Don, this has been a great talk today. I think you've got a really cool product, there, really interesting, and I hope the next time I go to Vegas, I take advantage of your product.
thank you. I really appreciate that. We are in the process of talking to some hotels in Vegas right now, so
Well,
we'll
well,
try to make that happen for you
well, good luck with that. And I want to thank you for
for
your
sure.
time today.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
Thanks.